Hello, my name is Ira. Now, I am a returned missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before. However, there's some things I learned on my mission. Some things I regret not knowing when I started. Yeah. My mission changed me. A lot. I'm not the same person that left. I'm pretty confident about that one. I'm a very different person now. And I do not regret it. I do not regret going. It was really difficult. There were a lot of times that weren't fun. It was so painful at times. But I grew so much. And I would never give it up. Not for anything. Because despite all the things I lost, I gained more from my mission. From serving. From being a missionary. From all of it. Now, there are some things that I do regret not knowing when I started. And so, I hope that these help at least someone. First, teaching. It's easy to say, it's easy to hear, and it's easy to believe, but it's not so easy to just actually accept, to feel it. But you're not teaching to get anything. You're not teaching to get friends. You're not teaching to get baptisms or numbers or success. You're not teaching or trying to share the gospel for anything that can be put onto a piece of paper. It's not for numbers, it's not for stats, it's not for goals. You're teaching the gospel to teach, to share. Let's see, in the book of Acts, chapter 10, verse 38, it gives the example of Jesus Christ. Acts 10:38. How God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Ghost and with power, who went about doing good, and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for God was with him. It's a verse used in the family of proclamation to the world, but Christ just went about doing good. It wasn't for numbers, it wasn't for followers, it wasn't for anything that we could see as success. He went about to do good. That's his entire purpose, the entire reason he was doing it, to do good. Let me tell you a story. I was pretty close to the start of my mission, which is to say that I've been a missionary for about 6, 7, 8 months, right around there. Actually, let's see, it was my second area, so 5 or 6, let's just say 6 months. 6 months, and, well, my mission president, every transfer, so every 6-month period, every 6-week period, he would meet with each of us to just say, how are things going? How is it? It was a difficult time for me. A lot of my mission was a difficult time for me, but that was the start. we didn't have anyone we were teaching. No success. We kept trying to visit with people and nothing. We kept trying to share the gospel, trying to say, hey, we kept trying to do something and nothing. For days, for weeks, for months, nothing. And so it was a difficult time for me. and he turned to a couple of scriptures. And because of that, this one verse means a lot to me. It's Doctrine and Covenants, section 6, verse 14. And it says, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, Blessed art thou for what thou hast done. For thou hast inquired of me, and behold, as often as thou hast inquired, thou hast received instruction of my Spirit. If it had not been so, thou wouldst not have come to the place where thou art at this time. When I was talking to my mission president, he's kind of like the guy that's, I guess in layman's terms, he's kind of like your boss, I guess. But when you're a missionary, he means a lot more than that. When I was talking with him, I was asking, why am I a missionary? Why am I here? Why was I put in this area? Why can't we have any success? Why does it feel like we're not receiving any direction? Why does it feel like we're just failing here? Why do I feel like I'm just failing? And he emphasized, as often as thou hast inquired, thou hast received instruction of the Spirit. If it had not been so, thou wouldst not have come to the place where thou art at this time. We were asking, praying so often, asking for the direction, guidance, the Spirit to be with us, to guide us where we need to go, what we need to do. And so, even though we didn't see anything, we were being directed when it was important. If it had not been so, thou wouldst not have come to the place, serving the mission, thou wouldst not have come to the place where thou art at this time. Yeah. Another thing that I regret knowing, especially at the start, or understanding, is that rules are there to keep you effective. Now, what do I mean by that? It's very easy to get caught up in the rules. There's a lot of guidelines, a lot of rules, a lot of standards. You can get caught up in following each and every one of them pretty easily. But they're meant to keep you working, actually doing good. You remember how I was talking to my mission president and it was just so difficult for us? Well, some people are dedicated to working. Some missionaries have to be pushed into it a bit. The rules are meant to keep you effective and safe. They're not meant to be a stick to beat you with. And unfortunately, that happens a bit too often. Which is unfortunate. I guess that kind of connects to another verse. 2 Corinthians. If I can find it. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. You're meant to help them. You're meant to do good. Share light. You are ministers of the New Testament, the new gospel, the new covenant, the new promise. You are ministers of the Spirit. For the letter, for the law killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. It's not easy trying to differentiate between the two, between hurting and helping. Sometimes the same words can hurt one person and help another, but I'm sorry, it's like in Galatians chapter 5. It talks about the gifts of the Spirit, the fruits of the Spirit. Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 and 23. For the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. There's no commandment or law or anything that is given that will force you or guide you or direct you to not love, to not have joy, to not have peace, to not have long-suffering or gentleness, to not have goodness or faith. There's no law that's going to direct you to not have meekness or temperance. As a missionary, people like to argue with you. Especially certain types of people like to argue that you're wrong, that what you're doing is wrong, that you just don't understand, that you're a stupid teenager who doesn't know any better. Well, arguing doesn't exactly help. It doesn't help anyone. Arguing is not going to convince them or make it better. It just makes things worse and more difficult. In 1 Timothy chapter 4, there's a verse. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers, in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. Till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. So what if people would look down on you because you're not as old as they are, or because you haven't lived the life that they've lived? So what? No matter how much you've done, or how little you've done in the past, you're still a 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old kid. But let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers. Yeah. There's one final principle, thought, that I want to share. One last thing that is important. Don't expect baptisms or lessons or whatever Don't teach for it. Don't serve a mission to gain baptisms, to be able to say, oh yeah, I baptized X number of people. Because that's the wrong reason to do it. In Doctrine and Covenants, section 18, verse 15. And I'll just read it. And if it so be that ye should labor all your days in crying repentance unto this people, and bring save it be one soul unto me, how great shall be your joy with him that in the kingdom of my Father. If you should labor all your days, your entire mission, and only bring one person to God, if you only bring yourself to God, if you only convince yourself, if you only convert yourself, then how great will be your joy with him in the kingdom of my Father. Even if the only person that you manage to convince in your entire mission is yourself, if the only person that you're able to convert in your entire mission is yourself, then it's going to be worth it. For me, I didn't see much success, many numbers for my mission. It's made me wonder a lot of times, what was the point? Did I do any good? Like, did it actually matter? And so I cannot say that I'm better than this myself, but the point, if you serve a mission and you only convert yourself, if you only bring yourself to God, then it's worth it. 2 years or 18 months, it doesn't matter how long. It could be less than that. You could be sent home or leave early. I don't care. But if that in that entire time, you're only able to bring yourself to God, then it's worth it. And let me tell you a short story before I wrap up. I've told you that my mission, well, the point of the story, there was a kid, Logan, and we taught him. He was friends with a family that were members, and so they had been talking with him, and we eventually taught him. He was baptized, and like yesterday, I found out that he is serving a mission himself now. You never know what kind of an impact you're going to have. But let me tell you, when I learned that Logan is now an elder, a missionary, just like I was, I cried for a pretty decently long time, because it meant that I did something that mattered. If you bring but one soul, then how great will be your joy. Forget about the many. Forget about all the people, all the potentials, all the people you talk to. It's worth it if you bring one person, even if that one person is yourself. Even if that one person is someone else. I don't regret serving a mission for 2 years. I gained so much more than I lost. So yeah, those are my 2 cents. those are some things that I regret not knowing beforehand when I started. The things that, looking back, are pretty important. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.